Hello, everybody. My name is Nobu from Master Scale. So today, I'm going to talk about what is space tech and why it's so exciting. Before getting started, let me ask you, what's the image of the space industry? What's your image? Maybe it's far, it's government-oriented, it's very capital-intensive, but in the end of this presentation, I hope and I think you might have a slightly different image of the space. So let me give you my three images of the space industry. First, space industry is $300 billion US market. It's quite huge actually, and it's growing 11% annually, gradually growing. But it's much faster than the GDP growth in the world. And even startups can turn a page, and even with a small capital, and even outside the US. 10 years ago, it's different, but now this. And three, I feel like space industry is like 89 to 99 in internet industry. We feel signs, indications of something big boost will come soon. That's our feeling. I don't know how many startups are coming up every year, like 10,000, 20,000, I don't know. In space ventures, we have only 200 right now. But 5 years ago, it was around 30 or 40. So I think 5 years later, we'll see tons of more space venture over there. So let me give you an example about our company and how we sneaked into the space industry. That will give you a more very clear idea about us. Have you heard about space debris? That's our mission. Our mission is to remove space debris. Space debris are comprised of rocket bodies and old satellites and fragments which came from collisions among them and other garbages from the astronauts like camera, spanner, these kind of things. Take a look at this. All the red dots are space debris that are flying with 7 kilometers per second, and that is quite dangerous. This is bigger than 10 centimeters, from 10 centimeters to 5 to 6 meters big size. Looking at this, the red band shows most congested area, and there are so many garbages here flying there. And there are two growing concerns. One is like Space Shuttle, International Space Station, these manned spacecrafts are all below red band. The most recent record human beings went above this red band was 1972, 43 years ago. Since then, we are trapped, we are caged. That's one of the issues. That's why we are not back in the moon. The second problem is the collisions actually happening in the space. To develop satellites, it costs a lot. And to launch it, it costs more. Let me give you some example. Ecuador. Recently, Ecuador launched its first satellite, and the people are so happy to see that. But 1 month later, it was hit by debris, it broken. You can imagine how sad they were. Let me give you another big example. American satellite Iridium and Russian satellite Cosmos collided to each other and broke into more than 3,000 pieces. As long as the debris is big enough, we can monitor from the ground and dodge it. But once into making the fragments, we cannot monitor from the ground and we cannot dodge it. So it is consensus among space industry to get rid of space debris right away. It is consensus. Otherwise, we cannot use space anymore within next 2-3 decades. It's quite soon. So it is so big growing threats right now. But don't tell me that, hey, I have nothing to do with space. I don't care about space. But our lives are totally relying on space technologies like weather forecast, broadcast, GPS, Earth monitoring, and so agriculture, fishing, of course, all the logistics Yes, we are totally dependent on space technology, and plus market. All the timestamps comes from the satellites. So if something wrong happens in space, you cannot do business. How good speech you do, it doesn't care. You cannot do business anymore. So this is a situation of space. Next question is how the governments or space agencies are responding to these topics. They are aware of this issue, but very slow. They are very slow. The reason is this. More than 90% of the space debris comes from Russia, US, China. There are 200 countries in the world. These 200 countries say, hey, these 3 countries should pay for the cost. But these 3 countries say, no, we contribute a lot to the space development. It's time for beneficiaries to pay for the cost. Who are the beneficiaries? It's you. You should pay for the cost. So this kind of discussion goes nowhere. It's same with global warming issue. So now we have 2 options. One, ignore it, take no actions. 2 is stand up and take actions. What would you do? We decided to take actions. I know, so that's why we founded our company 2 years ago, just 2 years ago. It's not easy, but what should we do? First, we have to have a dream engineering team. 2, we have to find a solution to remove the debris, and we have to prove it in space. 3, we have to develop an international framework so that we can clean up the space. Right? It's not easy, but today I'll honestly tell you where we are. We started to develop a team called Space Sweepers. Okay, these are the members. These pictures are a little bit old. Now we have 50 plus members, including all the experts, attitude control, propulsion system, communication and battery system, all the experts, and export control and quality control. So in total now we have a great team. This is our invention, buoy. Buoy will stick to any kind of space debris and bring it down to the atmosphere. We will disclose this buoy in the Paris Air Show in June. How it works? Buoy has an adhesive compound on the head. It will stick to any kind of shape or any kind of material of the debris. So debris don't have to be uneven. It can be uneven, and any material is fine. And then once buoy stick to the debris is actually rotating, and the buoy will give a thrust so that it can reduce the velocity and change the orbit shape and bring it down to the atmosphere and then burn it. That's our technology. And it sounds like very simple. Yes, it's a very simple way, but in fact, it's not easy. Nobody has done yet. We have to bring this buoy a lot to the space. To do that, we will have a mothership. This is a 2021 model which contains 6 buoys together. We are designing right now, but beforehand, we will have a smaller one. The 2017 model, it contains 1 buoy. So when we are developing this one, the 2017 model with a mothership and a buoy together in our factory. To do this business, So we will have a full first demonstration in 2017. This is not race, this is not competition, but this is the first trial in the world. Even space agency has not yet done yet. To do this, we have headquarters in Singapore and a factory in Tokyo. Why Singapore? Because Singapore is the best country to do this. We have to cope with America, Russia, China. Singapore is a neutral country, friends with everybody. In Japan, we cannot do that. In America, of course, we can do that. Singapore is the only way to do that. So that's our office basis. To set up the international framework, we started talking with space agencies and other stakeholders, including NASA, JAXA, ESA. 2 years ago, we could not do that, but today we can do it. Because 2 years ago, we are perceived as kind of an extraordinary outsider, but today we are perceived as unique insider. On top of that, we are pretty much focusing on talking to the ordinary people, like this. Because people don't know about this issue a lot, right? So that's why I mean talking in anywhere, Paris, Russia, China, Tokyo, Singapore, America, wherever. I think every 2 weeks I'm somewhere. But this is very important to raise awareness of this issue. In the end, that will raise a political priority in each government. So, next, let's talk about the money. That's a fun point. That's one slide before that. So now in the space industry, you're talking about technology comes first, fund comes first, regulation comes first. It's quite going nowhere. So what we do is 2017, we will show this is the technology, this is how much it costs. Then show regulation should be like this. We will crack the code, and that will accelerate the discussion to develop an international framework. That's what we are going to do. Okay, let's talk about the money. 280,000 Singapore dollars. This is initial capital. This is the initial money which I had. I'm not rich. That's money I heard. That's all my money. And I heard from my Singaporean friend, 28 is a good number. That's why we chose this number. But somehow we have been profitable from the first year. So what we do is, with the retaining earnings, we spend retaining earnings to the R&D, and then develop our satellites. That we've been doing. So we just finished the second year. We are growing and we are profitable. And I'm pretty much sure third year will be also profitable. Why we are profitable? Because we are having some space projects leveraging our network and technologies and members. So only one project we can disclose to you is this one, Lunar Dream Time Capsule Project. We're going to bring time capsule to the moon surface, sponsored by the Pocari Sweat. And that will happen next year. We're going to launch a rocket from Florida. Now we are collecting messages, dreams from the kids from Asian countries. Singapore, the team will come sometime this year. So we have this kind of sub-project that will generate intermediate cash flow for us. That will let us survive until we develop the international framework to remove the space debris. But to boost our speed, we need actually more capital. So we had a Series A in January. We are the first non-US space venture who successfully raised Series A. We raised 7.7 million. We had some other examples like SpaceX, Skybox. Skybox was bought by Google, and Planet Labs. So I think we're going to have a Series B too. And what's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? Investors are changing their mind. Space will give them a return to them. So, like bio, energy, web, social, whatever. There are so many startup segments, but 100% sure space will come next. Space will come next. So we are, as a space industry, we are very happy to welcome non-space people as a player, as a media, as an investor, whatever, because it's growing. Okay, conclusions. Last year, 12 months ago, I was making a pitch here. But over the last 12 months, our team expanded. We had a Series A. We opened a factory. Our development is on track, and we got high attention from the world, and we are considered as a unique insider in space industry. What's the implications? You don't have to be a space engineer. I'm not. I came from genetics area. And you don't have to be located in US. You don't have to reach. There's money in the world. And you don't have to be anything. As long as you have a passion for space, if you are passionate enough to play both engineering and the funding game, you can be a player in the space industry. I hope your image of the space industry has a little bit changed today, and thank you so much.